Hi guys, my name's Willow and I'm back with a few writing tips and stuff for you today. One of the first things I wanted to talk to you about is how to plot your book, but also one of the reasons that I read romance novels. I've always had, it's a bit of a guilty pleasure admitting that you read romance novels, isn't it? A little bit of a guilty pleasure. When you think of a romance novel, a lot of people tend to think of like the classic kind of Mills and Boon, like bodice ripper type of books, with this woman like in her finery swooning in the arms of this muscular man that always seems to have his top off. Don't know how that happens, but it does. So, you know, who am I to question it? I don't like those type of books, I must admit. Tiny bit too tame for me. But anyway, I've always had a love of romance books, even from quite a young age. I never really read the kind of books that I was supposed to. I found that most children's books were just a bit too simplistic and babyish for me, and they didn't hold my interest the way that more adult books did. I've always been a very fast reader as a child, and I soon pretty much devoured all of my own books and all the books that were of my age group. So I started prowling around my grandparents' house looking for something more interesting to read. My granddad, being the awesome dude that he is, gave me a copy of his favourite book, which is The Devil Rides Out by Dennis Wheatley. It's now my favourite book too. I proudly own 7 copies of this book and a tattoo on my leg. That's how much I love it. And I love it because it opened my eyes to the world of the paranormal, both in fiction and in real life. But I love the way that the story was crafted. I loved the danger of it and the evilness of the devil worshippers, their spells, all their nasty ways. But what I really, really liked about it was that good always defeats evil. I love that in a book. I loved how the main characters, although they were scared out of their wits most of the time, never gave up. They battled and they triumphed for love. The love of each other, their families, and just goodness in the world. Romance was sort of a subplot to the main story, and I liked the addition of it, you know. I like the idea that even in the midst of all that trouble, lonely people could find each other and make a connection. There's someone out there for everybody, even if you are being chased by devil worshippers. You know, romances are all about hope. And I have standards when it comes to books that I'm going to read. I have standards. And I am not above tossing one aside and refusing to read it and never even finishing it. Because if I find the plot to be subpar or predictable, or the writing is just god-awful, and the characters are one-dimensional and boring, none of that crap will wash with me. I will not accept that in a book, especially if I'm paying good money for it. At the end of the day, we want our money's worth. We want to know that we are getting what we pay for, and that someone's actually made an effort with the work and put some love and care and attention into it. And that's what I love about most books. I will always, always, always support an indie author, because a lot of the time the indie authors like myself are the ones that really care about their books. They are the ones that really care about the stories, and they are the ones that have faith in them. And if you don't have faith in the stuff that you're producing, that you're doing, then how do you expect your readers to care and have faith in it as well, you know? But I like a really good gripping storyline. I do not like one that is a flimsy excuse for a story that's used to simply carry us from one like bump and grind to another. That's not what I'm there for. Romances are not an excuse to write and read sex scenes. Or they shouldn't be. You know, if you want that, all power to you. You do you. Whatever floats your boat. Just, you know, don't dock it in my harbour. But, you know, if you want to do that, go and read some erotica. Own up to it. Be proud of it. I've read some eroticas. I've got some eroticas on my Kindle and in my bookshelves. That's not predominantly what romances are for. Romances are good characters, ones with depth and feelings and history and issues, you know, real people. You know, just, you have to feel for these characters. You have to care for them. You have to See them as friends that you want to support and follow. The story needs to pull you in and kind of like spit you out the other side when you're done reading it. Like leaving you feeling like you went on the journey with them. Romances are there to give you something to hope for, to root for, something to indulge in. You want to be able to escape for a few hours from the world where love is the strongest power of all, and that the bad guys do not have the last word. This world we live in pretty much sucks. It is a nasty, horrible place where people will step over you rather than help you. But in romances, that's not, and in fiction in general, that's not what happens. That's why I read romances. That's why I read fiction. Faith in goodness and love.